Hey, you guys. Good afternoon. It's Friday afternoon, and we're here with Desirae Jaenen. You spell Desirae differently, don't you?
I do, yeah. It's like Desi, D-E-S-I, and then Ray, like ray of light, R-A-E.
You are a ray of light.
Thank you. I'll take it. I try.
So, Desirae and I have really been pulled together. I don't know, like, lots of times I've interviewed people that I've known for years and, been in the work for years, and we just met.
We did.
And that's really cool.
Yeah, I think the universe puts people together at the right time. Timing is everything.
It is.
This is perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you're in the healing arts.
I am in the healing arts. I am in healing constantly with myself and my body, and I help others through that process as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we just started talking about a lot of what you do is help people release childhood trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And so physically as well as emotionally.
Yes.
And like the whole package.
The whole package.
And so it's a bit of a chore helping people become aware of childhood trauma, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. We wouldn't expect that something as simple as procrastination, roots, if this is something you do over and over and over in your life and you beat yourself up about it, but you still do it, it's a part of a trauma pattern. Because we are smart, we know better, but we don't do better. Something's stopping us.
I was at my men's group last night, and one of the men was complaining about the fact that he was just lazy. and he didn't do this, he wasn't doing this, he wasn't doing that because he was lazy. And I said, no, I don't buy that.
Mm-hmm. Souls aren't lazy.
No, that's a bullshit word. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, there's something underneath lazy. Lazy is a symptom.
Lazy's working for you. Lazy's a coping mechanism, my friend.
So it's a symptom of something that doesn't, we don't want to look at, or we don't want to see, or we've already decided that that's not where we're not going there.
Right.
And that decision might have been made when we were 4.
Totally. And oftentimes they are made when we're 4 or 5, when we're young, when we don't have the resources to manage and deal with the things that are happening. So when we grow up, it's our responsibility to go back and reorganize the things that we couldn't understand fully then and make them work for us instead of against us, because we have such limited, it's like we're in horse blinders. We only see what we believe is true based on our experiences.
So I hear you, and I sometimes tell people that a lot of therapy work is like rearranging the seats on the Titanic. But we're still sinking.
Totally.
But if we can kind of surrender the behaviors as we see them, and it's just around being conscious of seeing them, that and we surrender the behaviors, and every time we surrender, we can be more present.
Absolutely.
And I think if we're more present, then we're more connected to the power of the moment. We're more connected to, we call it spirituality because we don't know what else to call it.
Right.
We call it God because we don't know what else to call it.
Yeah.
Because there is no how do you describe this thing of being here now? So I've gotten good at looking at what isn't working to let it go.
Yeah.
And not beat myself up.
Right.
But let it go. And so you do that too then. I mean, obviously you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I do, yeah. I'm consistently working on, my personal goal is to consistently and constantly work on whatever's triggering me or whatever feels uncomfortable.
Okay.
It's not easy.
No.
I'm not going to say it's easy to change patterns and stuff, but I kind of like to explain it like, when you're a kid and you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and you open your eyes and you look and you're like, monster, right? But there's no monster in your room. That's your coat rack with a robe hanging on it. And all we need to do is turn on the light. And then we see the truth of that thing that we made so big and so scary in our minds. And so that's what you're speaking about in the consciousness, that present moment. Like, what's really going on
when we shine the light in that corner, we see,
yeah. And that presence of light is welcomed into us in that present moment that you're talking about.
So, complaint.
Yes. Yeah.
So a pattern, coping mechanism.
Absolutely. This is a learned behavior.
Yes.
Yeah, complaining is an absolute learned behavior. So when I speak to parents, this is not to blame or shame them or put them down, but I want them to witness that the way they operate in the world is constantly and consistently being non-verbally shared with their kids.
Yes.
So if you were a kid and someone knocked at the door and your family was excited for a visitor, then when someone knocks on your door, you're excited for a visitor. You've learned that behavior.
Yeah.
But if your parents were in financial crisis or something like that, or there was debt collectors calling all the time, you learn that it's not safe to answer the door, or that we don't answer the phone.
Yeah. Who's that?
Right, totally. And these patterns of behavior, we don't even
Yes.
notice that we're not making the choice anymore, that it's making the choice for us.
So, sure, we're talking about belief systems, and
So just like that doorbell and that perception, we're teaching our kids in every moment how to behave. We cannot tell our kids don't lie and then say, don't tell them I'm home on the phone, right? Like this is how kids get mixed up. They're confused about what's going on in the world, and so then they don't make their own choices. And then they grow and still don't make their own choices.
And they kind of lose faith in their parents.
Absolutely.
They get angry.
We've all had a moment of when our parents fall from grace, when we realize they aren't the superman and superwoman that we thought they were.
Yeah.
Right? It may have been the first time you got spanked. It may have been the first time you saw your parents fight, or something happened that created this, like, ended your illusion of perfection in their eyes, or in the,
Nice.
Yeah. So we're looking at that. That's the big thing. And I want to be really clear that our trauma patterns don't have to be massively big. I personally had a very intense trauma that most people in the world would say is traumatic. But most people in the world wouldn't say a child being ignored after their first day of school because their dad lost the job, or their brother got diagnosed with cancer, or something happened.
Yeah.
But yet, if that child is in a heightened emotional state to share something with a parent and is so excited, and they're not received, they drop immediately. And so what happens when we have a strong emotion with an event? Now we create a link, right? And so the child with no construct or no context makes up a story about what that meant. And so anything that changes how you show up in the world, how you share yourself, your ability to share yourself, is considered trauma. It doesn't have to be like a car accident or a rape or what everyone else would think is very traumatic. It could just be an event that, the first time I got spanked, I was like, okay, not safe, not my friend.
Okay, so the bottom line is not safe.
Not safe.
And then if it's at home, the 4-year-old or 5-year-old stops going to mom and dad to share.
Yeah. Well, why would you want your heart broken over and over again? As a child, we learn what feels good and what doesn't, and we just know that didn't feel good, so we create a different thing.
Again.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then we witness in our world, in our experiences, things that build that to be true. So if you weren't seen by your dad, maybe you're not seen by your boss, maybe you're not seen by your wife, and you think it's because they're not seeing you, but you're not really sharing yourself to be seen because you did that and that hurt you. So you don't want to do that anymore.
So tell me, some of the types of people you're working with. You've seen quite a few people.
Yeah, the types of people that I'm working with, I like people that are ready to change. Those are my favorite people. That are really they are ready, they want change. They're for lack of better words, desperate. Like something's not going right, I need help, and I want to change.
So I like desperation as well. But it's nice when they move from desperation to inspiration.
Absolutely.
Isn't it? It's
we meet them in desperation, and then we hold their hand. We go to that dark place with them, hold their hand, and then invite them back up.
Yes.
Because the problem is they don't know how to get out of there.
Yes.
I've been there, and I've walked out of there. I know the route.
Yes.
I know the way. I'm okay in that dark place.
Yes.
I'm not scared of it, and I can actually lead you out.
Yes.
Whereas,
that too.
a lot of therapists and a lot of people that haven't been there don't. They're like, hey, I'll throw you a buoy.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Once I haul you closer, I'll help you out. But it's scary for us to go to those places with people because we've been trained that those emotional places are not safe. And they are. They're just emotions.
Yes.
They've never killed us.
No.
And yet we're more scared of them than real threats out there.
Well, when you say they never killed us, sometimes out of emotion or not wanting to feel emotion, people have done some terrible things.
Oh yes, but that's not the emotion.
No.
That's the lack of release of the emotion in an
Yeah,
appropriate
or
way.
fear of the emotion.
Or fear of the emotion, or
Yeah.
squishing it. You know, we press and we squish and we
Yeah.
push stuff down, and then
Yeah.
we wonder why we're depressed.
Or it explodes.
Yeah, or it gets too much tension. What happens when your pot gets to a certain boiling point?
Yeah.
We blow,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I've experienced that in my own self,
Me too.
right? Let's be honest. I think if you're alive and you're human, you have emotions.
Yes.
Negating them is where we get into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Trying to control them or
Yeah.
squish them.
So, are you talking often with people that have? We talked a little bit about addictions earlier. Sometimes people that are showing symptoms of addictive
We all have
lifestyle.
addiction.
Of course,
We all do.
I know.
We
Yes.
all do.
Yeah,
Everybody, if you are on your phone, you're addicted to distraction. Like,
Yeah.
if you check your phone before you check your partner in the morning and say, "Good morning, how are you?"
Yeah.
That is an addiction. You
Yes.
have a real human
Yes.
right here, and you're on this thing
Yeah.
over here.
People do that.
Oh, yeah.
Can't imagine.
Oh, yeah. So many people. It's
Yeah.
it's a pattern that we've fallen into that we don't even recognize or realize that we're doing.
Uh-huh.
And so it's really about waking up.
Yeah.
And the people that I see, the people that are most attracted to me, are those that see me executing a life. I've come through some pretty serious sickness. I was undiagnosed with Lyme disease for 16 years.
No way.
Oh, I was crawling to the bathroom and barely able to speak 4 years ago.
Did
So-
you see Bruce Hoffman?
I did.
Did you?
I did. Yeah.
All right. We'll talk about that later.
Maybe on camera. Yeah, I did. I saw every doctor in the book. Because I was undiagnosed for 16 years.
Yes.
Doctor after doctor after doctor told me there's nothing wrong with you. This is all in your head. It's all in your head. And I
Well,
was
that's
like,
what they've been doing with Lyme disease for a long time.
absolutely. And many diseases.
Mhm.
A lot of disease cannot be corrected with a pill.
Mhm.
You know, every body heals the
Yeah.
same way.
Yes.
And so yeah, I learned everything it takes to be the happiest, healthiest human I could be
Mm-hmm.
because nothing was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned everything from the physical. I'm a raw food chef. I have my personal fitness training. I'm a coach. I'm an energy coach.
So
I'm
Lyme disease has been a huge
the
benefit.
greatest gift of my life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And which was created, I believe, out of my trauma,
Mm-hmm.
out of my massive trauma at a really early age.
So you went back and did some work there, and then stuff started to move from there. You've done some family constellation work then too.
Family constellation work, yes, a lot of it, and understanding like why people change
Did you met Mark?
and why people don't change. Yes, Wolin.
Yes.
He's wonderful.
Isn't he great?
Loved his work.
Yeah,
He was
me too.
amazing. I traveled to Vancouver to see him.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you interviewed Mark?
No, I'd
Oh,
love
he
to.
would be fascinating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool human.
He did a session with me one time. It was just so amazing. With around my dad and my son and my grandfather.
Mm.
So the male lineage,
Mhm.
and it had to do with some of the work around my spine, around the back, because I've got also another thing I didn't tell you about, and the male energy is the backbone.
Mm.
The backbone is related to the male energy, and
Makes sense.
I had some stuff that I came to him with this thing that was happening with my back, my lower back, and he said, "Well, tell me about your dad."
Huh.
And what's happening, and as it went back, and where the break had been actually, where the thing had been, was that I had my dad behind me in the session,
Yes.
and then behind him was my grandfather on my mother's side,
Okay.
and then my grandfather on my father's side, and then I said, well, just a second, he's not my grandfather. The man who I envisioned was my step-grandfather. And he said, well, what happened to your grandfather? And I said, well, after the war, he was kind of never involved with the family again. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
And he said, well, great, so let's have 3 grandfathers,
Mhm.
and just something happened that was amazing. Then he put my son in front of me on the floor and had this male, I get emotion just telling you.
Just telling you, yeah. I did a workshop and it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Witnessing other people's constellations, being a part of that healing process, sharing mine. And
Yes.
in my group, I don't know if you experienced anything like this, but there were people that were throwing up. Their bodies were releasing and relieving grief that they
Mhm.
had been storing for
Mhm.
ages, and it was just such a beautiful process.
Well, what happened in my constellation, that one, Bruce said later, he said, I've never ever seen a constellation like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, he said that was just, you know, and it goes, you know, the whole idea of 7 generations.
Yes.
And
Our trauma's passed down through 7 generations. Like,
wow.
so if you're not healing, you're passing that on.
Yes, now we're into the mystical, and so we're talking maybe some karmic debt as well.
And genes get turned on. If someone in your family lineage died in a fire, you are more sensitive to smoke. Those genes are turned on as a threat for you to help you survive. So you would be more sensitive to a threat that your family has encountered than I would be, because my genes aren't turned on to be aware to help keep me alive and keep me going.
Thank you for doing all this work. This is cool stuff.
Yeah, thanks. It wasn't a choice. I have a business degree.
Well, it might have been a choice.
It was before I came here.
Yeah.
But my ego was not a healer.
Yeah.
My ego was a business person. And slowly but surely, I was derailed off that path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was funny. I was just saying last night, we were talking about desire at my men's thing, and I shared with them how for years I desired success, all these things outside of me.
Society very much tells us that's what you need to have and be to be okay.
You know, that my greatness had to be out here.
Totally.
Instead of acknowledging and living in my greatness in here. And that hurt.
Careful. Well, things are moving. Good. Great.
Obviously, yeah. So it's just it's nice that I don't know where I was going with all that.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Oh.
Body's giving you some signs and symbols.
No kidding.
What do you do when this happens? Give it a little attention?
Should I?
Yeah. So whenever you have body stuff come up, you just want to give it your attention. So we live in the body, but there is a witness to that all. And if we can give our attention to the pain or to whatever's coming up, usually we want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to be, you know, fully supported. And if you can do that for yourself, then your body says, oh, okay, well, I'm okay.
Yes. Okay. Isn't that interesting? Because I teach meditation.
Oh, lovely. I didn't know that.
And,
cool. That makes sense, though, about you.
And so here I am teaching meditation. And lots of times with people, I'm sharing with them to be nice to the mind. You know, because the mind is an amazing tool.
A tool, though.
Yes. and an amazing tool, and we need it. It's you know, part of it's how we, you know, make breakfast.
Totally. It's a magnificent problem solver.
Yes.
It just shouldn't be running all of our decisions.
But I haven't done much around, because you just spoke about the body the same way I speak about the mind. To, you know, I tell folks to acknowledge it, to tell it that it's safe. We're just going to meditate for 20 minutes, okay, to sit, you know, you can relax. Okay. We're safe here, everything's fine. And to talk to it, you know, and then I also speak about the observer.
Right.
You know, who's watching the mind? Who is that watching the mind? But you just introduced me to something totally new, the observer, who's watching your body.
Who's watching the body? Who's watching your robot, my friend?
Yeah.
How's your meat suit?
Wow. Oh, you just gave quite a kink. Yeah. I think I need to come see you.
Okay, that'd be great. That'd be so great.
Right on.
So if you were to identify through all of your interviews, what would you say is the most repeated pattern? We're talking about patterns of behavior, patterns of feeling, patterns of showing up. What have you witnessed talking to all these people you've talked to about what is their greatest hiccup to designing a life they really love?
Well, what comes up for me when you ask that is that the theme isn't really around what's not working. The theme is that most everybody wants to make a difference. Yeah. Everybody that I'm talking to, and I mean that are people that are contributing to community, that are sharing their love, and so, you know, and if you're asking me about the barrier, if there's a theme around the barrier for that, so I think what comes up, I mean, the first thing that came just now was around money. That a lot of the people that I've interviewed haven't, you know, been able to kind of put together how that works to get paid for their service, or they're you know, it isn't working for them that way.
Because money's a trick.
Well, yes, but and there is the practical though. There's the
Totally.
you know,
Yes.
and it's certainly I think an area that I'm not clear in yet. You know, and that I still have energy around, and then you know, I mean I've been doing lots and lots of inside work for sure, and I surrendered repeatedly.
Repeatedly. It usually requires repeated surrender because it required repetition to get us to where we were.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm doing it.
So I think a lot of us have a misconception around money, and you know, misunderstanding around money, and you know, so it's difficult to see where do we fit in that scheme of things, and so that would be something that is not universal, but certainly, you know, one of the top things that a lot of people are in the healing arts who are, you know, and they're, you know, a lot of them, they go from almost apologizing for talking about money to, you know, it's not easy for them all to kind of
the dynamic of money is so related to our personal value.
Yes.
That we feel so uncomfortable discussing it. It feels like we're standing on stage naked because it's so representative of our personal value in our society's program.
Yeah.
And it's not true, because if the world were to blow up, would you want money or would you want a healer or someone who knows how to grow food and support life and do all these things that, like, and in our world, in our constructs, investment bankers and people that do all those things are very valuable, but how valuable is a lawyer when the world blows up or when things go off, right? Like the real reason we're here is to connect and to share and to be together and all of this stuff. And I think that because we have all these like layers in our society, we feel like the ones that are doing this work are not as good as the ones that are doing this work.
It's interesting. I never went to high school. And yet,
student of life.
yes, and who do I often end up, you know, working with? You know, people with their, you know, master's degrees or their doctorates, and because I, you know, I know the road.
You have insight that they didn't get in school.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
They didn't get that
well,
in school.
I've always been in school. I'm a lifelong student, you know, and so I hear what you're saying, that it's there's a you know, huge value in what we do, but you know, I don't have the answer to.
But in the end of creating happy, healthy humans,
Yes.
do healers have more value than bankers?
I would think healers have more value than.
So why are we feeling so confused and invaluable?
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is, the construct is not supportive of us stepping into our power and sharing our gifts.
Well,
So
we can't change the
unfortunate.
construct. We have to change our thinking
Totally.
about the, you know, because the construct is just whatever we make it, really.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a paradigm shift.
Yeah. And I think it's really a big deal about meeting people where they're at and helping them see that there is another option for them outside of the construct or the program that they're running, right? Because a lot of us are in it and we don't know that we're in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No question. Yeah, we're in the illusion, the dream, you know, the collective consciousness.
Totally.
Took the green pill.
Yeah.
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 The
I think
Matrix.
that was a documentary,
Yes.
that movie, not necessarily for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, no question. No question.
Yeah.
So, you help people bust out of it.
I help people bust out of it. So usually there's 3 levels. The physical has to be maintained and stable. So if you're not drinking water, if you're not sleeping, if you don't have enough nutrition in your body, those are all signals to the body, to the nervous system, that we're not okay. And you will be more easily triggered. So if I'm doing work on your emotions, your mental, emotional, belief systems, limiting beliefs and all that, it's not stable if I don't secure your physical body first, because our mind doesn't make the choices. It's actually our body. So when you touch something hot, do you think, oh, that's hot, and then pull your hand away? No, you touch it and then you figure it out. So if my body isn't stable, it's constantly touching something hot, let's calm that down. So physically we need to detox and cleanse and get some nourishment so the body feels okay and safe. Once the body's okay and safe, then we can do some somatic body release, where we're looking at helping the body relieve itself from any imprints, traumas, physical or emotional pain that's stuck in the body. So some people hold their tension in their necks. Whenever they get stressed, that's where it comes. That would be where that trauma pattern is stored in the body. But it's also linked up to a belief system in the mind. So we clear out the body first, and then we can move to the mental and emotional parts, where we do some beautiful timeline therapy, redefining the construct, getting people into that present moment that you talked about earlier, reconnecting them to truth, you know, like capital T truth, not story, small t truth, you know, like your own story. And once they're there, the spiritual connection is open and ready to be made and connected, because I think that's where we're really struggling, is spiritual deficiency. But we need to start with the meat suit and the mind, the roommate.
So
and then
yes, in the 12-step program, though, I mean, it says once we straighten out spiritually, you know, the other things come, you know, the physical and the emotional then follows.
Yeah.
And you know, so if I'm working with a guy who's, you know, ridden with guilt and shame and fear and you know,
the lowest vibrating emotions that will just suck you dry.
Yeah. You know Hawkins?
Yeah,
Do you
of
know
course.
Hawkins?
Yes.
Okay.
You're talking about Stephen Hawkins?
No, I'm talking about David Hawkins.
No.
David Hawkins, who wrote Power versus Force. And,
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And,
I do know him.
And he talks about vibration a lot. And the lower, yes, you know, I'm talking about lots of times people come in and they're newcomers and they're so in such a low vibration that it's, you know, it's hard. So they end up going out drinking or using, even though they absolutely didn't want to.
Yes.
You know, and I had a guy at a meeting the other night, and I sat beside him, and his mom and dad sat on the other side, and they brought him to this meeting. And it's a man in his 40s, and they're you know, they're beside themselves. How do we help? You know.
Right.
And he and I chatted a bit, and then he chatted with a couple of other fellas that were there after the meeting, and I'm standing talking to his mom and dad. And he said, "I'm just going to go out for a smoke," and he's gone. You know, but I believe when he said, "I'm just going for a smoke," he
thought he was.
He thought he was going for a smoke, and the disease took him. And we all came upstairs and they were like, "Where did he go?" I said, "No, that happens." You know, and it's so.
Do you find people run when they're getting really close to the truth?
Well, sure.
Do you find that?
Well,
I find that all the time. When people run, I'm like, "Oh, come on, back! You're so close."
Yes, yeah.
Right? Your psyche knows that we're disrupting something big here.
Yeah, fight or flight.
And it freaks out.
Fight or flight.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Have you done Enlightenment Intensive?
No. Tell me more.
So it's a process. I'll send you some stuff on it, but it's I just did one about a month and a half ago, and it's 3 days, 16-hour days, where we sit and we ask a koan, which is a question, and the question that I had for 3 days was, tell me who you are.
Creator. Is that who you're asking, or?
No.
Oh, you.
Yeah, so you're sitting across from somebody.
Oh, you're doing a dyad.
Yes.
And then they respond and you say thank you, and then, that's a beautiful process. 16
hours.
Yep. Wow.
3 days in a row. So no phone. You know, when I got to the event, you hand in your keys and your phone, and no books, no writing, no.
Just you.
Just contemplative, no conversation. No
just the
contact,
process that you're doing,
no
right?
eye contact, very minimal food. I mean,
eye contact.
Well, yes, in the diet, of course.
Okay, but otherwise you're just be very within yourself.
Yeah, all contemplative, all, you know, and
is it silent outside of the time when you're doing the?
Yes,
beautiful.
It's amazing, and of course, the possibility is to be the one who experiences the one, and it's just like, wow.
Did you have this experience?
Yes.
Tell me about it, will you?
Beautiful.
Okay.
So what was interesting is that there was nothing more to say about the question.
Right.
That, you know, it was like everything got swept away, and I was in the stillness, and what was, everything shifted. My perception of the space shifted. You know, not a total DMT experience, but close. You know.
Did the face shift of the person you worked with by chance? Did you have any morphing of the face? I've always experienced facial, older, younger.
But deep, it went kind of beyond that
Well, 16 hours will take you to another continent.
Yeah, 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
You know, so 48 hours really.
Yeah.
And,
I've done it for 3 hours. That's my max.
I know. Well, I did it in Bali in 1994, and I was in a group and we did some diets and it was called the no, it wasn't called the Enlightened Intention. It was I forget it'll come. But so we did it, but only for a few hours, and it took me out. It was very difficult. My body really rejected it.
Oh, uncomfortable.
And I was more than uncomfortable. I couldn't even stay awake. I was just
wow.
and I remember crawling out of the room and saying, "I'm never doing that again." That was
too disruptive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Never doing that again. So 25 years later, you know, I got cornered, and we're to this place where I thought, okay, I'll go. Yes, I'll go. And my friend Trevor Thibodeau leads them. He's the facilitator. It's so cool.
Have they done them in Calgary? Is that where they are? Oh, I need to. Okay, we definitely need to share this information because I've traveled to do it. I haven't found anyone who's doing it here.
Yeah, so cool.
So I have a question because the first time I did this, I cried my eyes out. I had a hard time looking at people in the eye when I very first started my journey.
Yeah.
It really felt like I was standing in front of them naked. I didn't like it. I was deeply uncomfortable. Did you
So there's
sense that?
a lot of work around creating a safe container.
Yeah.
A lot of work around that, so I felt connected, you know, but the other thing was that there was only 12 of us, and 5 of the people who were there in the diets I knew really well.
Oh, nice.
So
what a great dynamic.
Yeah, so it was, and they were all meant for my men's group.
Cool.
And I know Trevor really well. We used to be roommates, and so it was in this like super safe spot, but yeah, I hear what you're saying, you know, and lots of stuff came up for people. It was, you know, not everybody had the experience, you know, you done breath work?
Yes.
Yeah, so you
what
know.
kind?
Well, you know, the where you releases the DMT and yeah, you know, we have the
Wim Hof
yes.
method?
Well, no, not the Wim Hof method.
Psychotropic.
Yeah, psychotropic.
Oh, psychotropic breathing. Yeah. Yeah, it's not something I practice a lot, but I have done it in courses.
Yes, who does Trevor Ulrich? You know Trevor? How do you say it? Ulrich. I spent your time with Trevor's name. Hey, Trevor.
Hey, Trevor.
Yellick, sorry.
Yellick, yes.
Yellick.
Yeah. He does it like 3 hours. You know, it's just amazing to do the breath work because it does release DMT, and all of a sudden you're in that other space, you know, that alternate reality that we don't see here because we're conditioned to see just this much, you know, even in the spectrum of light. And so, you know, we don't all have to do acid to drop into that other space, you know, or mushrooms or ayahuasca.
Well, like right now, there's like 100 radio stations that are out there. If you tune into them, you can hear them, and now you have a part of that experience. So it's our responsibility to get tuned in to the vibration and the experience that we want to have.
Yeah.
That's our responsibility.
Yeah. So you can feel here in this room that the vibrations changed. I mean, we're like in a cocoon right now. Do you feel it?
Well, your home's a very safe place.
Yeah.
It's a nice space. Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
sure. Yeah.
And so anyway, that's nice. I think that playing around in those things, those realms, is pretty amazing stuff. You know, and
well, there's just so much
healing.
more that we have access to that we're not aware of. There's so many more channels and information and experiences that we don't get when we're walking with our blindfolders on, doing the same things as we do every day. You know, if you get up and you do the same things every day, your body just does it for you. You get up, you go to the bathroom, you think, while you're at the bathroom, I'm going to make a coffee, and then from there your body walks to make a coffee, and then you think of it, you know.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So I told you I work with a lot of people in the 12-step world, and often I don't ever want to send them to a professional because often the professional says you don't need that spiritual recovery, and you know, like the run-of-the-mill therapist says, look, we can, you know, we'll do some cognitive and we're going to reframe a bunch of this stuff, and you should be fine.
Right.
Because they don't understand alcoholism, they don't understand, you know, the depths of the disease, but I think that you know, I know some fellas I'd love to send to you to do some trauma work.
Yeah.
Because you'd send them back.
I would send them back. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm hoping that they don't need me anymore.
Yeah, and because I know, you know, some fellas, and one in particular I'm thinking about, you know, is carrying so much trauma, and you know, to have the opportunity to have you guide him through that. I'm not the guy to guide him through that, you know.
Yeah.
I'm the guy to help him do his, you know, to line him up so that he goes from being a taker to being a giver. You know, like that's the psychic change in the 12-step world.
Yeah.
Really, yes, they're very selfish. We're selfish, and we're getting our needs met by taking, but it doesn't actually work.
No.
Because, you know, we burn through people and burn through situations and jobs and homes and all of that stuff, and so we can shift from that through a spiritual experience to be a giver.
Totally.
And check in each day with our higher power and say, okay, boss, I'm ready to
What
go
do
to
we
work.
got? What do you got for me today?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
It takes a lot of pressure off when you do that.
oh my God.
When you're like, okay, what's the plan? I am your servant.
Yes.
I am your
Yeah,
Use me as you see fit for best outcome in today.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that we as humans think that it's all up to us, and that is just so ignorant and so hard.
Oh my God.
So hard. Like, stop pushing the rock uphill.
Yeah.
Give it over. It's
Yes.
not yours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because of our need of certainty,
Yes.
usually because of some trauma that created uncertainty or
Yes.
rejection,
Yes.
we grip to things that don't work for us, even when they don't work.
Yes.
Like, alcoholism and drugs are not the problem.
No.
They're the solution
Yeah,
to the problem.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
They're the best coping mechanism that person's found to deal with the feelings that they're feeling.
Medicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we can get to the root cause of why they're doing the thing,
Yeah.
nobody wants to be an alcoholic. They want to not deal with something that creates the desire to numb.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. My feeling, you know, my experience, and I've been sober now coming up 39 years.
What?
And
Nice work.
I've worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and most of them actually haven't recovered.
They still are flicking that desire off every day,
No,
fighting it, or what do you
they're
mean by not? Oh.
They're dead. It's a disease that kills. Like it kills. The prognosis is not good.
Yeah.
When you know they get to us, you know they've it's so ingrained. They're so deep. It's so, you know, they don't find a new way to live, a new, you know, and have this spiritual experience, and really turn their will and their life over to this higher power, and begin to live a life of service.
Yeah.
Full on service, like you are.
Yeah.
You know, and you got there. Pain is the only drives us to service.
Yeah, our pain always has purpose, or it'll take us right off the road.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. When my guys go off the road, they don't make it back. Many times they don't make it back.
Right.
Because it kills them, and they, you know, so you know, I think pulling the trauma up so they see it doesn't allow them to stop doing the work. Do you know what I mean? They still have to be in connection with their higher power, and they still have to be in service, and because we can, you know, it's easy to go back to the old ways, you know, to the default, isn't it?
Totally.
And
Someone just told me a little while ago, and this rattled me. And he was a leader of a course I was at, and he said, "It is not your job to feel good, to make yourself feel good, to make yourself feel okay. It's your job to make other people feel that way. Period."
Yeah.
And we're all broken, and we're all in the same place. So let's stop pretending like that's not the reality, and just start showing up differently. And he was so right.
God, I love you. You're crazy.
I love you too. Universally, that is the thing. So
Yes.
totally. I felt as soon as I walked in your door and gave you a big hug that there's a kindred spirit for sure.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, you know, living in unconditional love is the, you know, kind of the desire.
It's the goal.
Yes, to
The
be
number
there.
one goal.
And you know, and if we can love somebody that way, we can love everybody that way.
Totally.
And we can love ourselves that way. And you know, and when I drop all of the ideas of who I am, and you know, and become nobody like Ramdas in his movies saying, you know, then there's only the thing, the me to love is this me in this moment right now.
Totally. Not the act, not the mask,
And
not
not
the
the
persona,
story.
not the story,
Yeah.
not the stuff that we do all day long. When I did my first silent retreat, I saw
10-day
myself.
Vipassana?
Yes, it was only 7 days, and
Yeah.
it wasn't a Vipassana, it wasn't like where you clean and do all that stuff. It was just a 7 day silent retreat. It was with Deepak Chopra.
Yes.
So a little bougie compared to what you're talking about right now.
You and
But
Deepak,
same idea.
Yeah.
And the first day, I was deeply uncomfortable.
Yes.
Deeply, like no phone, no connection outside, no TV, nothing.
Beautiful stuff. Yeah.
Beautiful stuff. So uncomfortable first day.
Mm-hmm.
Second day, I was like, okay, I'm a little uncomfortable, but I'm starting to settle in. Day 3, I literally saw every moment of my being was a dancing monkey. I had a ball and a hat and some juggling things, and I performed for this person, and then I performed for this person, and then I performed. And without having to speak, I realized how much performing I was constantly and consistently doing. I couldn't have lunch around the table without engaging with everybody, making sure everyone felt heard and connected and included. And that's good. It's all good, but I never had any peace within me.
Yes.
Because everything I was taking care of was always outside.
Yes.
And that's from trauma. If something happens in your world where you don't get your needs met unless you behave a certain way,
Yes.
you now learn to be a dancing monkey.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because now you've learned that you're only valuable if you do the things that people need you to do, or if you be the way they want.
Yes.
And that's not true. That's why we reject pieces of ourselves, and then we don't feel whole anymore. And you can only dance so much till you're very tired.
No shit.
So I got off my ball, I threw away my hat. Over it.
Nice.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have noticed that because I was so busy dancing on my ball that until I took the space and the time to get clear about what was going on, turn that flashlight on, put some light in there, I was like, wow, I don't make decisions for me at all. Everything is about appeasing, and based on what my childhood was, I got my needs met after I behaved a certain way. And so that just became very good at noticing what people needed. And meeting them there, which is why I'm so good at my work today. But it was running me instead of me using it as a gift and tool.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. It all has purpose. And the sooner, so a lot of people get stuck on how they got broken, not what has come out of it. Right? Your story of how you got broken doesn't actually matter. It's what are you going to do now that you're broken open and the light can get in? What did you learn? What can you do with this? Exactly. Yeah. You know Leonard?
Yes.
Oh, love him.
When Leonard passed, I bawled.
Me too.
I did.
Yeah.
I wasn't sad. I was like, oh.
Losing such a wordsmith of love and light.
The soundtrack of my life.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful way of showing up as a human without dancing for anybody. I wouldn't say he has the best voice. He has no big show.
But his song about the bell with the crack in it.
Yeah.
That's how the light gets in.
Yeah.
When you said that, you cracked open and that's how the light gets in is so on a big scale.
Yeah.
As a humanity, some of us believe that we're evolving. That actually the evolution might be even speeding up a little bit. Yeah. And that there's, of course there's hope. There's always hope. And that what do you think is happening from humanity?
Oh yeah.
Mankind?
I would say that you're bang on to my perception. Things are getting faster. People are getting and perceiving more dis-ease more quickly, which is creating more need to shift and change. The unfortunate part is, I talked about this earlier, we don't shift and change in this middle ground. We usually wait till there's a massive event or something that majorly disrupts us, that cracks us open. And so if we adjusted, when we felt uncomfortable, when we noticed, we wouldn't have to get to those big things. But I think that's where our society's at. We haven't acknowledged, we haven't been honest or truthful about the state we're in. And so its role as consciousness is to up-level us. And so if taking us down this dark path is what's going to bring the light, because we need to go down that path, then that's what's happening. It feels like that's what's happening now. Everything is faster, everything is more discontented, more dis-eased, so that people wake up and want more and notice and thrive for more, because we're so comfortable being uncomfortable now that we don't change.
More, of course, is not in the material world. More is in the spiritual
more connection,
consciousness.
more fulfillment, more love, more joy, more growth, more service, more contribution.
Wow. Yes.
Those things.
I do know.
Yeah. Yeah.
with you. So I think that's happening. And James and I were talking the other day, and I mean, we had a big shift in the 60s and the 70s.
Right.
You know, and again, I think we're having a shift. I think it's happening. And even our politics, I think, are stimulating. You know, we have to see ourselves. And we have this amazing mirror who's like the President of the United States. It was this amazing, you know, opportunity for us all and to see ourselves.
Yep.
And which is, you know, I mean, I think that's his gift.
Oh, he's a disruptor for sure.
Yes, and so I'm not saying that I think he's an amazing president. I think what I'm saying is I think he's
an amazing disruptor.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so many of us are waking up.
Yeah.
To wow, you know, who am I in this?
Right.
And how am I responsible? How can I be more in love?
Yeah. You know, someone was talking to me about how the body is very representative of our earth. And all of us in the body are cells within the earth. And what we're doing right now is cancer. We're fighting against each other. We're rejecting. We're toxic. We are not in flow. And if that were to happen in the body, what would happen? Major dis-ease. Well, that's happening on a global level, and we have major dis-ease. And so it's unfortunate, but we may not course correct until we get to that
things could
darkness, and then we
could get a little
pendulum
darker.
back.
Yeah, things could get a little darker.
They could, but we're ready.
Yes, we are. We have to live together. We're ready. You know,
There's our community we've always wanted.
Yes, I know. Need bigger houses.
Totally.
Well, that's so exciting.
Thank you.
Just, we've only really talked about one thing that you do. I mean, and which is the trauma work. Is there a couple other things that we can just, because I want to tell?
Yes.
Yes.
I do retreats in Cabo. So I have learned that experiential learning is the very best way to do things. I learned a lot in my head. I had a lot of information, knowledge, not a lot of experiences. But I thought I knew what was going on. I didn't, because I didn't experience it. And it's when we live in our heads, we stop experiencing the world. When we're thinking about it, we stop experiencing it. It's not the present moment, right? And so when I bring people, I invite people to come to Cabo for a whole week. I don't hire any chefs or any people. We do everything together. So you're seen and heard in a group through your greatness, your darkness, your pain, your trauma. People learn how to cook. So how do we take care of this physical meat suit that we're running in? Because we go to school for 12 years and we don't learn anything about our bodies or our minds and how these magical machines work. And so getting people together in a small group, there's only 6 people at a time. That's it. We do everything together. And it shifts so immaculately because we create that time, space, freedom to really let the light in and shift and change paradigms. And then people go home with like an accelerated shift, really. So that's
I've done
huge passion.
lots of group work,
Yeah.
Like that one in Bali in '94 was 30 days in a compound.
Wow.
With like 35 people.
Yep.
And wow.
Did anyone leave that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of people did, because there were no rules.
So you had to make up your own rules.
There were no rules. It was let's be adults. Let's be, let's look at where we're stuck. And a lot of us are stuck around. We talk about money, but we're also stuck around relationship, around sexuality. Yeah. So we did a lot of work in intimacy and sexuality. It's the first time I ever learned that I could say no.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I was brought up in an era when if a woman was interested in you.
You said yes.
Yes, baby. Yeah. When and where?
Yes, baby.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And that was my era. That was and I learned that I could make decisions in that area that I had never made. Because that wasn't my condition. And so lots of freedom came as a result of that.
Wait, I have choices?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my biggest wake up. I'm like, I have choice.
Yes.
In every moment.
In everything.
In everything. All the time. That's actually the gift.
Yeah.
But we don't exercise it. And when I lost my choice, and when I was crawling to the bathroom and my body wasn't working, and I was so sick, that's when I was like, people, wake up, make choices when you have them, take control. You are driving your car.
Yes.
Or not, you're in the back seat maybe.
Yes.
But like, get in that driver's seat and take control of your choices and what you're doing, because today's choices make tomorrow's life.
So Cabo, what else?
Oh, so Cabo's amazing. And then the nutrition and what the body needs to heal. And now I'm no doctor, but after 16 years of being undiagnosed with Lyme disease, I learned pretty much everything it takes to be a happy, healthy human. So what does the body need to detox and cleanse? I oftentimes will do the experiential learning I just talked about, going into people's homes. So we get rid of their stuff that's not good for them. We clean out their fridge and freezer, their spices that are awful, their, Glade air fresheners, stuff that would be toxifying them. Oh yeah.
Not Glade.
Oh, it's just awful. And so witnessing their environment and helping them, like cooking with them instead of sending a recipe, like actually integrating so that they have the confidence. Nice. So oftentimes invited into people's homes to support lifestyle habits and changes, even to as simple as like everyone in the house fills up a glass of water at night and it goes beside your bed. So you drink that on an empty stomach. Like just habits and rituals that support the self.
I keep a jug. In my room, and,
Good.
Drink in the morning, but I still feel I don't drink enough.
Do you drink any other time during the day?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well when you pee, you should probably drink.
Yes.
Fill the tank. If you empty the tank, that's your cue to fill the tank some more.
Yeah, and I mean when I pee, that's I can tell by color whether I'm, whether I'm
clean or not.
Whether I have enough fluid in me. Yes.
Yeah, people often ask, how much water should I drink? I said, until your urine is clear and odorless.
Yeah.
That's how much you need. Because if you haven't for a long time, you're going to need a lot more for your body to support that detoxification process than I would need drinking consistently. You know what I mean?
Do you help them with their sleep too?
Yes, we do sleep habits and rituals before bed. And
Apnea, you deal with sleep apnea.
You know what? It's funny. My partner does a sleep apnea. He's a doctor, and that's his forte.
No way.
Airway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Working with kids with ADHD and opening the airway and literally changing, because sleep is our restorative program.
I have apnea, and I don't like the machine.
You don't. Nobody likes the machine. No, there's some dental appliances that they can make to shift and change your jaw to allow more air in.
Craig Young did some.
He's amazing. I love Craig.
Yeah, Craig. Yeah. Go back. He remember the first time he did my teeth. He did it sitting in his dining room with his muscle testing. He went, and so he wasn't even asking the questions out loud. Craig's amazing.
The body has wisdom that the mind cannot even touch.
Craig's amazing. Craig Young, you guys, is like he's the dentist. Yeah. He took out all my mercury
fillings. That stuff will poison you.
He's the guy.
Nice.
Yeah,
love
I'm glad
it.
that you know him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My partner works with him. They're great.
We know a lot of people in color.
Apparently, they have the same values. That's how you know your tribe, right? The more values you share with people, that's how you know your tribe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So helping people with their environment, taking people in a 1 week.
If you want to escape in paradise.
Yes.
The universe gifted me a home in a resort that is exceptional. It's like 150 acres. It's $2,000 to $5,000 a night for a hotel room, and I own a home there. The universe literally gave it to me. And so I invite people to come and spend time with me there at a very reasonable price.
I could be your meditation leader.
I would love that.
Yeah. On Monday nights I do a meditation event.
Okay.
And it started out, we've been doing it for a year or so, but I'm at the Scarborough United Church on Monday evenings at 7 o'clock.
Every Monday?
Yes.
Okay.
But actually I'm on this, I'm doing a 7-week series right now.
Okay.
And when the 7 weeks is up on the 16th of December, I'll do another one in probably starting in January.
Yeah.
But I love that the church is, Scarborough, the United Church there is centrally located. But so yes, it's a meditation event where, if people want to learn to meditate, I help with that.
Yep.
But a lot of what we're doing is talking about belief systems and patterns. And last week we talked, the whole thing was about story. So how the mind makes up story about, and where does the story come from? Out of our conditioned belief systems. And so the story's not true. It's just what the mind does, because the mind's just desperately wants to know, wants to understand. And understanding, of course, takes us out of the moment. We're not really here when we're in our understanding. And we don't really see what's happening because we only see it through the perception of our... So that was last week. And this Monday coming up will be on desire.
Oh, lovely.
Because again, desire is another thing that takes us out of the moment. And if we can live in acceptance of the moment, then desire, my teacher years ago taught me that preferences were okay. Desires, are...
So what's the difference in your mind between a preference and a desire? When does it change from not good to okay?
Well, and they're not. None of it's not good. It's all
right.
what it is.
right.
But with a desire, usually our desires are often wanting things to be different. So we're unhappy. We're in complaint almost with desires. Like, damn, I wish I wasn't so fat, or I wish I wasn't so
Things
tall.
shouldn't be this way.
Should not be this way.
Yeah.
You know, those damn conservatives, whatever. So we're in desire, or if we're in desire, obsessed with to have a new Mercedes. You know,
or a woman.
Yeah.
Or
yeah. So when we're in that state, we're not here. And the mind. I mean, we've all, you know, for years ago, I read, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and, you know, all of those books, and basically, you know, acting as though, or you know, having gratitude for what we have, brings us more of what we have, you know, and in desire, desire pushes things away, you know.
Because it implies that we don't have it. There's a lack of it, right? So it changes our vibration from thank you, it's coming, everything is perfect, to I'm lacking, I'm not enough, something's not working.
Yes.
And then we're not in alignment with getting what we want anyway. We're down here now.
Yes.
Yeah, you're on the wrong road.
Exactly. So desire doesn't actually work. We think it does, and even some teachers will say, you know, you have the white heat of desire. Yeah. You can get it, you know, and maybe, but it doesn't have substance. It's, you know, it's not built on rock. You know, it doesn't come from love. It comes from lack. It comes from, you know, we fought our way there, but it doesn't mean we get to stay, you know. And so I think that if we're really living, that everything that's needed unfolds.
Yeah.
And my job, I think, is to be, to recognize I'm complete.
Already.
In this moment.
As you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And most of my life, that wasn't the case. I thought that I needed something to complete me.
Yeah.
And whether it was a woman, or whether it was a house or a car, or
office with the corner window and all the things.
Yeah. And I had a lot of it.
Right.
You know, most of it. And it wasn't fulfilling.
Right.
It was, you know, empty.
Yeah, that was the shock for me. I'm like, okay, so I did this amazing thing, and nothing's changed.
I'm still me.
I'm still me. I made a huge sale. Like, I did this huge thing with business. It was great. I thought it would change my world, and things changed.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to school at University of Lethbridge.
Did you?
We had a great business program there. I loved it.
Windy City.
The Windy City. Yeah, I made a good use of this. I would like wear my little windbreaker jacket and rollerblade, and I would make a little tent out of it.
No way.
It would pull me.
You're freaking amazing.
I'm a crafty one, like a little squirrel.
I don't know how long we've been doing this, but we should probably go. We could talk again. We should talk again.
Great.
But I think that we should probably pull the pin on this today, because
I'm just following your lead.
Yeah, you're amazing. I could talk. We could be here all up. You know, you just have to get up and go pee and then come back. But anyway, thank you.
Of course, my pleasure. My
Thank
pleasure.
You so much for
everybody.
For trusting and coming. You know, we just talked yesterday, and I said we don't actually have a script. We just, we never know where it's going to go, and I like that what we did was personal. It was intimate, and I love that. You know, and you shared yourself and your heart, and that, I mean, when you and when any of us share our heart, healing comes into the space.
Totally.
And see, it's a gift that you can do that, and that happens for you. You know, I hope to send people your way.
Thank you. I'd love to meet anybody.
Yes, and we'll. Do you have have a space? You do it in your home, or do it in?
Yeah, I can either come to people in their home if their home is a safe place. If it's not, then they can come to me. And I also work with a beautiful woman named Melissa, and she has a place called the Heart Lodge that we run somatic breath work and meditation and a whole bunch of stuff like that.
And
she leads my retreats with me in Cabo.
Yeah.
That is my co-facilitator.
I know Melissa.
Okay.
I've interviewed Melissa.
How could you not know Melissa in the city? She's just one of the healers.
Did we interview Melissa?
Yes.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Pam introduced us.
Yeah.
Pam dropped my name too.
Okay. You know Pam?
Yes.
Wow, we love Pam.
Yeah.
She was one of our first interviews.
Was Pam our first interview?
One of them.
Wow.
She's fabulous.
Second.
Fabulous girl. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's that's great. That, you know, super. So thanks so much for coming
Yes,
today
of course.
and sharing with us, and we'll put your links
Perfect.
on this and all the stuff that you're doing, and I'd love for you to come to a meditation Monday night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I bring some friends?
Absolutely.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
can. And it's it's fun. It's a bit of we've been doing the meditation either here or before when my store was open. We were in the
Right.
store.
I'm so sorry.
And no, it's okay.
Is
What do you
it?
mean?
Yeah.
Are
Oh,
you
I
kidding?
just feel like it was just such a legacy in the city you had going there.
Well, it was fun.
Yeah.
And but the last couple of years, you know, when a relationship's over
Yeah.
and you're still there.
Yeah. Okay, fair. Yeah.
You know. And,
Yeah,
and
you're like, okay, I'm gonna let it go now.
yes. And,
Okay.
yeah, it was like that, and but not only was it over, but she was really not well, and she was dying, and I couldn't leave.
Yeah.
There was all this stuff around it, and once it was done, it was like, oh my gosh,
Wait.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm free, you know, and not that I didn't love it, because I did, and I had some amazing stuff happen in that shop. People would come in and we do this,
Yeah.
you know, and love them.
Yeah.
And hug them. I hugged all my customers, and
And love them.
yes,
Yeah.
and if they let me, you know, I love them anyway. But,
Right.
you know,
But some people are not. Some people are shakers, and some people are fist pumpers.
yeah,
I'm a hugger.
yes.
I usually do this at first, and if people don't like it, I'm like, oh hey.
So,
Yeah.
so what we're doing now on Monday nights is a little more vulnerable for me, because we're recording, but we're also, you know, I'm coming with content, and I'm really stepping into this, you know, my new role is, yeah. So yeah, I'd love to
Committed
be
guide.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A committed guide. I like that. Yeah.
That's my role. I'm a committed guide.
Yeah.
I don't have your answers that would be ignorant, but I can
Mhm.
guide you to turn the lights on.
Yes, yeah. We can shine the light in some different corners, and some
Mhm.
things you'll see, and yeah, and that's what I do. And different on one-on-one, but certainly in the group, it's, you know, we'll talk about things, and folks go, wow,
Can't wait to experience it.
yeah. And so thanks you guys for watching, and if you have questions, post them, and Desirae will see them, right? Because you
Yes.
can, you know, we hope you'll share this.
Oh, of course, yes,
Yeah.
of course.
And we're going to put this on YouTube too, and I can send it to you. Do you ever want to use any of it for?
Snippets?
Yeah.
Snippets?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we love you guys, and thanks so much. Talk to you soon. Cheers. Bye.